Well, the police has in recent days dedicated some resources to try and address the crime situation at Kasoa after Joy News highlighted the plight of residents who believe not much was being done about it. A few more crimes have since been reported. So what is the problem with Kasoa? Joining me via phone for more is criminologist and crime researcher Dr. Jones Opokuware. Doc, I'm grateful for your time, but what has your research shown to be accounting for the rising crime rates in Kasoa?
Okay. All right. Good evening to your viewers and also to those listening to us. As I've already enumerated some time past, when you go to Kasoa, a lot of variables are happening in Kasoa. For instance, for you to understand why crime is at a state in an area like Kasoa, you have to look at those variables. You have to look at, one, residential instability. You have to look at the population density. You have to look at the socio-economic activities that is happening within the area. And so in most communities that have crime rates, these are basically the factors that operate. And if you look at the way Kasoa is configured in terms of the spatial characteristics, all these factors and variables are very high and operating within that area. And so when these factors and variables come in time and space, it's partly the kind of crimes that normally happen. And most of the time, the rates are high. And that is what is happening in Kasoa. And that is the reason why Kasoa is recording so much crime. Because one, if you look at the residential instability, people keep on moving in and out. And now once people keep moving in and out, and we don't have a profile of those people, we don't even know who comes in and who goes out, it becomes very difficult for you to police crime. And now once there are also socio-economic activities growing up and coming up so high within an area, what happens is that a lot of criminal opportunity structures are created. And now once criminal opportunity structures are created, and now criminal targets become very common. And that is why a lot of these things are happening.
But Doc, is it really simple to control people coming in and out of a community?
It is not easy. It is not easy at all. That one I have to be very honest with you. And that is why over the period, because we have left our borders porous, because we have also allowed a lot of foreigners and other people to come in, and we don't have appropriate data to map up and to profile people, what happens is that people who have other ulterior motives are able to come and mix within the locals. And now in an area like Kasoa, where you don't really have a lot of indigenous, where you say that these people living in this area are indigenous, what it means is that these people are basically from different parts of the country and also within the sub-region. And they are all congregated with different backgrounds and characteristics in Kasoa. And now when that happens, it becomes very difficult for you to police crime because you will not be able to identify people and the kind of behavior that they are likely to exhibit. And that is the difficulty that we have within that enclave.
No wonder the police seem overwhelmed with the situation, though they will not admit. But what do you think? Is it a matter of failed strategy by the police or something more than we think?
Yes. I mean, the truth of the matter is that the police are overwhelmed. That is the truth of the matter. Over the period, our police lack a lot of resources to police crime. So once there is that kind of incapabilities in terms of the police and the resources available to them for them to fight crime, and now it will be very difficult for them to contain it. So to be very honest with you, it is not just about the strategy, but it's also about the lack of resources on the part of the police. I also admit that, with time, the police have left things to, let's say, filter for a long time. Because you see, once the police continue to cite incapabilities and lack of resources as excuse, it becomes very difficult for them to look at the critical sectors of the community that they have to look at. And that is the reason why all these things are happening. So for me, the police, I must admit, have a lot of issues to deal with in terms of resources. But they must be able to work within the limited resources they have to start mapping up appropriate strategies that are unique to the Kasoa enclave.
I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Jones Opokuware is a criminologist and crime researcher. You're still live on Joy News Prime.